I've been very pleased with how my parents have complimented me.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
never felt like they didn't believe in me.
I don't think I would have gotten it. I don't think, not that I'm like that far in my career, but I don't think I would have gotten this far if I believed my dad's compliments.
Really?
Yeah, because you need something to really eat at you.
I guess. Yeah, I guess so. I've never had, my parents have, my mom has always been very clear, like, you could do anything you want to do. Like, she's always believed that about me, which I don't think is true, but she's believed that about me.
Sure.
And it's always been like, so I've always felt the freedom to do whatever I want. That being said, when I chose to do comedy, she was like,
don't do that.
But do you have to do that? she's like, you could do that, but you could do a lot of other safer things.
So many other things.
You could do things that make more money faster. And it's like, I totally get where she's coming from.
So it's the safety thing. It's not the,
yeah, dude,
it doesn't bring like shame to your family that you're doing this.
No, it's all about money.
Oh, that's good.
Not all about money. It's all about safety.
Security.
And yes. And money is safety.
Yeah. Money is power and safety. And yeah, it's, which is why I feel like it's such a disadvantage to not care about it very much. And
yeah, 100%.
I mean, when I get it, oh, yay, that's nice. But in terms of like, and I've not had it and been like, I really need this. But it's like I have friends who they're doing really well for themselves, but they are constantly aware of money in and out. And it reflects in how they talk about things. Like they're very proud of their things or how, they want to get a new thing. Seems lame.
Yeah.
But they also, it keeps them moving, It's a constant, you never have enough of it.
Of course.
And someone tried to tell me it was like potentially like a defense mechanism, but I really just don't. Maybe it's because I've never had to really worry about it for an extended period of time. Like I've always either gotten a job or, had some help. But it doesn't scare me the way it scares other people.
Well, yeah. I mean, my rock bottom was when COVID hit and I got fired and I had to move back to San Diego.
Yeah.
And I lived with my parents and I worked at a brewery by the beach.
Yeah.
I think it was awesome. We're
talking about white male privilege.
Yeah,
right?
that was my rock bottom.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not
I think that's
scared.
really the privilege. Is the rock bottom is like I go live in my mom's basement, which is devastating from like a pride perspective.
Sure, ego.
But is awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Good food, no groceries.
Right.
My mom loves me so much.
My concern would be health insurance. That's literally it. Because I need that for insulin. And other than that, it's pretty. And so I think there's a sense of like, I've never lacked in money, so I've never been like, I think about it for sure. I think about it. I should be thinking about it more, frankly, in terms of how I spend. Yeah. But it's like, it'll figure itself out.
Yeah.
But also that means I'm not like grasping for it either.
Yeah, you're not gunning for it.
I'm not poor, but I'm also this attitude will mean I'm never going to be super rich either.
Yeah,
because I'm going to be like that was if I do become successful in comedy, they're going to be like, oh, you have a terrible deal, you have a terrible whatever, and I'll be like, oh, do I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just made $10,000 in a weekend. That feels good to me. And they're like, yeah, you should have made 25. And I'd be like, oh, should I don't know.
Yeah, like that thought wouldn't have occurred to me unless someone else would say it, and then I'd worry about it.
Yeah, and I'd be like,
so they'd ruin the thing.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, like Mark Norman, he's like, I think he grew up in like a financially tumultuous upbringing.
Yeah, well, his parents, I think, had money, but they lived poor-ish.
Yeah. That dude, I mean, I think part of why he takes every show is he's just like, any money is good money.
Yeah, he's a psycho. I mean, he jumps the turnstiles, dude. He's a millionaire. He made like over $1 million last year.
He jumps the turnstiles?
Yeah.
Says him?
Says I've seen him on Patreon episodes. He just jumps the turnstile. He's just like, well, it's what you do. Yeah. And it's so funny to see that, to be like, I mean, you're a millionaire. Right. I pay $290 every time. And it's like, and it doesn't hurt me. I feel
obligated to.
Obligated?
Yeah, like
it's the law or something?
The best part of the city is the subway.
Wow, that is a subway take.
Dude, it's what makes New York City great is the subway.
I think I agree with you. 100% agree.
Wow. Hey, you didn't say that much that last time.
100% agree.
Oh, okay. See, I wouldn't know what to do with that. Like, I don't know how do you go beyond, if someone just agrees with you, you just go, oh okay, cool.
How's that a show?
Yeah.
Subway takes it.
I feel like I would have to get disagreed with every single time.
Yeah, because then what you just start 69ing in front of it's like great. Yeah, we both love each other. Yeah,
Sure. Which you can do on the New York City subway. Two men can blow each other
That's why
stand
the
up
city's
69
so great.
style, and all you had to pay to do that was $2.90.
You think
And you're getting to Queens while you do it.
that's true? Do you ever think people gay men have sucked each other's dicks while standing at the same time? Like not 69 flipping
Like on
or
the
whatever,
moon?
but like if we're standing next to each other, facing each other, and we both just reach down into
Wait.
could we do that?
Would I have to give my ribs removed to suck your dick in that situation?
Maybe, but
I'd have to get one half.
because you
removed.
go right, left, and then we try
Sure.
to. Is that has
like a
it been
yin
done?
yang with legs.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
But
like
we're both
it's like the
standing.
mixed race M&M, but it's two guys blowing
But
each
we
other.
both have to stand. We have to be standing.
I know. I'm seeing it. I mean, we surely couldn't do it.
No, my stomach would get in the way.
Yeah, my small penis would get in the way. Hey, we're even now.
All right, nice.
You said it last time. I'm saying it this time.
About my small. Oh, about the small penis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clip's doing all right.
Yeah, well, mine are stinking. Please
What?
support our clips.
Please-
Support the podcast. I don't even know if we should post any of this first stuff, but
We'll post it. It's fine. What are we talking about?
like and
Money
subscribe if you want, because we're trying to actually do something with it. But and hey, watch a little bit more, because we're going to talk about spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to do the Bible again. And if you're whacking off, we have a deal for you. One more minute. Look at this, gray and white.
One more
means
minute.
One more
I
minute.
feel like
just
I
to
should probably separate.
bump our algorithm. You know what?
Because I think they are here for your socks. They're not here for my socks.
Why do you think that?
It's just a little self.
Have a little fucking confidence, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, ask.
You're right.
Gooners, whose socks do you prefer? We're doing a poll.
Well, whose socks do you prefer? Who do you think is obviously Grant's hotter? Take that out. I think in terms of the socks, I still think it's Grant.
You
because I
have
think
better
he's hotter.
variety of socks.
That is probably
You're
true.
doing
These are
polka
just a
dots. You're
plain
doing half
white.
calves.
Dude, what if we titled the episodes? What if we did like the kind of punny things that we're doing now, and then in parentheses the types of socks
Ooh, to give them a little
in the
bit
description? Yeah, like gray and polka
more.
dot.
Here's what I will say: the last episode that we posted is not doing as well as the previous ones.
But the average duration's up.
That's good. But I put socks in the hashtags, and it feels like we're being punished for that. I am
right.
curious with the sock guys. Like, what is? I don't know if you can explain stuff like this, because I think like fetish type stuff is probably like really hard to get at. But what
Sure.
is the appeal? So drop a little comment in there. What is the appeal?
Yeah.
Whose socks do you like more? And what you want to see sandals? Let us know.
I'm
'cause,
not doing sandals.
I'll do sandals.
He'll do sandals, and I'm not
I'm gonna
against
get a
him doing
lot more
sandals.
votes.
But here's the, and I don't want to alienate the audience, but personally, I do not like feet.
Yeah.
I do not like feet. Bare feet, especially, and maybe
But
they do.
they
They
don't
also
like
don't like
bare
bare
feet.
feet. I hate bare feet. I don't even like the word toes. I don't like saying it. It feels
Wow.
gross to say it. It's like how people don't like moist. It's like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just how I feel about that.
Okay. So yeah, let us know about those things so we can better interact with the only recurring viewers.
Exactly. Which we're so grateful for
Which
you.
we are grateful
Gooners.
for.
Should we call our fans Gooners?
Gooners. What's up, Gooners?
Welcome to Call Him Father, Gooners.
Welcome to the Bible podcast, Gooners. It's a beautiful thing that the internet,
Dude, I was
like the internet creates Mad Libs in reality.
Dude,
That's
that is so funny.
'Cause what
give me
is-
noun Bible.
Bible. Give me verb podcasting.
It's
gooning.
Give me another verb masturbating. Give me
Give me
another
an
noun,
adjective.
socks.
Vigorously.
Dude, it's so
Two
crazy.
socks.
Dude, it's so funny. I was at my small group last night. My church small group, and someone was like, "How's the podcast going?" And I told her, and I kind of forgot. There were like a few other people watching. I was like, "Oh yeah, a lot of our audiences are dudes."
You said that at Christian small.
I mean, it wasn't like with all of us sitting down, but I told that to one of my, just a kind lady, and I was like, "Yeah, a lot of our audience is just a bunch of dudes jacking off to our socks." She was. I didn't say jack. I said masturbating, but But yeah, and then
That's awesome.
and then she was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry. I mean, it's going good."
Why would you say that?
Well, because I
a
said,
Christian small group.
guys, I was like, we're getting a little bump in the viewership, and I was
You're
like,
happy about it?
I was like, people are watching.
It's working out.
I was like, one of our videos got over 1.5 thousand views, and it's because of these guys.
Oh, my
so I
God.
am grateful for you. And the people were like,
what?
they were like, "Oh, cool."
Oh, man.
So funny.
So they're not watching.
Well, I think they might be listeners.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I don't know. No, I think her husband watches. I don't know. It's you don't want to keep track of who's paying attention.
Yeah,
to this,
yeah, I
because
get
then I wouldn't say, "Hey, do you think we could 69 each other?"
Yeah.
That wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Dude, that is the
church
absolute
family.
best part about my mom being like internet disabled is that
Yeah.
for her to figure out this,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the technology's not there yet.
Sure.
The
It could not
technology
be
is there,
simple
but like the technology
to make it accessible to her.
for my mom, there would just have to be a button.
Right.
There would have to be a Grant podcast button. And it would have to be big and red.
Right. Yeah.
A physical button in her house.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to install that. So
Sure.
she thinks that I'm just having a nice time doing comedy in New York.
Yeah. Well, everything's going nice. I know she's not that old, but it's just
No, she's not that
technologically
old.
that is how she seems.
Technologically, well, it's funny because the way that old people deal with technology is as if it's more advanced, because they talk
Sure.
to technology like, we do this thing. Like they're actually eons ahead in terms of expectations.
It's funny. The way they talk to technology is like it's a super smart person that doesn't speak English.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a really smart Chinese man.
Right, yeah.
Where they're like, "Could you please do that?" Like they're yelling and
Yeah.
they're screaming, and it's like you just talk. It's fine.
Why aren't you working? I love my mom getting aggravated at her computer. Like, why isn't it doing this? It's like, did you do anything? And she's like, I tried. It's like, how did you really calm down and go, this is not working, let me try this? Or did you just keep doing the same thing?
It's funny to think has that always been the case with certain technologies? Because when you think
Were
about
they doing that
technology,
with horses?
Yeah, were they doing that with horses? Were they doing that with like cups? You know, like the first time someone like had a cup, and they're like, "It's not. Oh, it's not
I-
snake."
do
It's like,
we
yeah, the
take-
cup's upside down.
Do
How about
we
you try
take
that?
for granted how intuitive cups are? There's no way.
I mean,
that anybody, it's just funny to think of
some old timer was like, back in my day, my hand was good enough for me.
Someone-
I didn't
yeah.
need a cup. Someone's like, because they're just watering like this. Then someone's like, what if I want more water later?
using a gourd and you getting so much more water, and people are just like, you fool.
Yeah, exactly. Idiot. Those gourds aren't going to last forever. You're going to use up all the gourds.
Yeah,
But
right.
what are you calling it? A cup? Idiot.
Which, by the way, what else are you using a gourd for? Is that a squash? Is that just a hard squash?
Yeah. I mean, you use them as a rattle, too. You have the seeds dried out and put them in there.
Oh.
So you use them as a rattle for...
Stuff like that. Hey, that makes you believe in God. Stuff like that. You can get rattle, cup, thing to shove up your butt.
Yeah.
Which people...
You're telling me that the dildo is random? Yeah. No.
No, sir.
No. That was a created thing.
Yeah.
All right.
When I think intelligent design, I think of a man in an emergency room with a 12-inch cucumber logged into his asshole. God put those,
You think this was an accident?
God put those there for that purpose.
Exactly. Listen, people can use and misuse God's creation, or overly use God's creation.
Yeah, or putting too much of it
A little
inside
too
of it.
far. Too much of a good thing, perhaps.
Yeah.
A cucumber,
Yeah.
pickle. Has anyone ever put a pickle up there? But I'd be like,
Well, that's what happens if you keep the cucumber up there too long.
it's pickled.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we're 15 minutes in.
Okay, let's
get into
break
the-
it the F down.
Let's get into the
Okay.
rating. You go first this time.
Rating. Well, we're doing this a week after the last one. So much has changed.
Not a week, half a week.
I was lying, Josh. I was lying to the viewers.
So retarded.
Anyway, I've got plans this Sunday. So we're doing. It's only been 3 days since last we checked in, but I am feeling. I'm praying every morning, and I just like it. I don't have a. It's a good way to start off the day. to just go, there is something greater than me that I am going, please, I know you're going to do whatever you're going to do. I'm saying I trust you. And please be nice to me.
Yeah.
Please be nice to me.
That's awesome.
And please be nice to people I love and other people that I don't even know. Yeah, I like the prayer, and it feels nice. And I'm reading this Quaker book, and I was able to read some of that today.
Cool.
And it's really intense how this guy's like, you have to give everything over to God. And your life is so much better. Like, you could be poor, you could be this, but it's you give everything. And it's like, really, even just reading it a little bit and considering it is scary because he talks about how people do religion as kind of a passive hobby. And that is not, there was even a line in the book that was like, Jesus didn't die for your religion to be passive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that for sure.
Jesus didn't die and rise again, Easter. For your religion to be passive, which is just an intense thing to read. And it scares you a little bit because committing to anything, especially something that you can't see and hold,
Right. But also, I will say something you're not, well, maybe you are seeing it in a way, but seeing or holding, just this idea of like, yeah, I'm praying. It's nice. Mm-hmm. You're seeing maybe the effects of that niceness, but you're not holding it, but you are experiencing it. You are living it.
Sure.
There's like a different sense of reality that we like lean on and trust with spirituality that kind of we don't, in the Western world especially, we don't really grow up with. It's like, I believe in facts outside of myself.
Yeah.
But my own experience, I don't really take as a variable necessarily.
Yeah.
Or if I say I'm rich, I should be happy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not. So maybe the fact that you're not happy says something about being rich, not
about you.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Dude, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're correct in that. So what do you need to be happy?
Sometimes you sound like Tucker Carlson. Has anybody ever said that to you before?
Thank you.
Wow. Luckily, you don't laugh like him because that is one of the most...
his laugh is tough.
That's a bad laugh.
Wait, how do I sound like Tucker Carlson?
Well, sometimes you sound like Tucker Carlson.
Do I sound like Tucker Carlson?
The way you inflect sometimes reminds me of Tucker Carlson.
I don't listen to Tucker Carlson. Not for or against him. I just don't listen to him.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. I'll look up some clips.
But yes, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the intensity of that. I'm going to put my religion at, I'm going to keep it at I was at 2 last time. I'm going to keep it at a 2. And I'm going to keep my spirituality at what was I at? I was thinking I was at 8.2.
You were high.
I think I'm going to do 7.2.
All right.
Just to be more realistic.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, for me, I'll put a religion 8. What is that? A box cutter thing?
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's really annoying. But it's really fun to play with.
Yeah. Whoa.
Isn't that fun?
That is pretty fun.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. You could.
I mean, I get why people can't watch 3 minutes of this. Thing. Yeah. That's cool. That's what I was thinking about is like
hijack and playing.
Being, I was thinking about that. No, NSA. But the Muslims 5 times a day, recenter yourself 5 times a day. That, it seems like a lot, but at the same time, it's like you forget stuff throughout the day when you're in the heat of battle, and then you don't need to. I don't know if you need to put a rug down on the side of Park Avenue, but
right.
Having this like drilled into you, this discipline of like check back in, check back in,
sure,
check back in.
Yeah, I think it's super valuable.
Yeah,
to just be like, and I mean, Scripture says to pray without ceasing.
Yeah,
so it's like in my head, and I've been getting better at this. When I'm thinking, I'm not just thinking myself. I just am thinking with the acknowledgement that I am thinking with God. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm never just like truly alone in my brain.
Yeah.
Like God's always there, and when you understand God is not a vicious, vengeful God, but as a loving God.
It's tough to believe after reading some of this Old Testament stuff.
Yeah, he's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, as a God who loves us, then it's not scary to have him there. It's very comforting.
Sure.
But yeah, the recentering I think is great. Also so funny. You're like, box cutter. Oh, Muslims. So I was like, what?
I didn't connect that visual cue.
Hijack a plane with that. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Muslims pray 5 times a day.
In retrospect, that is a bad look.
Very funny though for you to go like racist thing to be like, here's what I like about Muslims. So it's kind of like you're really seeing the whole orb
That's what
here.
Intersectionality is.
Exactly.
Is how does the racism lead to the understanding?
Right. Exactly.
How do these things cross over?
Exactly.
What is the like in general your opinion, I guess, of like how, because it's, and I haven't read the New Testament, but how like a kind of vengeful and intense Old Testament God is from New Testament God. What's
same God? First off, same God.
Same God,
same,
right?
Same.
But it seems like people talk about them very differently.
Yes, I think that people look at the effects of sin and the consequences of sin, which are so well detailed in the Old Testament, and they go, "Oh my gosh, this God is the worst." You know, like anger, all this stuff, and then Jesus is the salvation that saves us from the consequences of our sin, from separation from God. So it's just kind of like a weird, like the reason why people talk about it, so Jesus so much is because like, well, this is the salvation. This is what they were hoping for. In the Old Testament, Israel, all they're hoping for is a salvation. Jesus is that salvation. So that's why we're going to talk about it, you know? So kind of the Old Testament is just detailing out consequences of sin.
Okay.
It's like when you separate from me, this is what's going to happen. And then Jesus is saying, I am the sacrifice to save you from those consequences. I've come to bring forgiveness, to reconcile you to me, right? So God is putting himself in the front of the firing squad to take the consequences of sin and his own death so that we might not do that. So it is God, like you see this angry God in the Old Testament, and you realize that angry God and all he did to all of the other people, to the Israelites themselves when they left him, to all these things, all of that was poured out upon himself, upon Jesus, right? So he did not spare himself. It's not like he just punished us. He punished himself too. So he's like one in his suffering with us.
Okay.
So he is holy and just God.
Is there any explanation for why 4,000 years of this before getting to that?
Before getting to that, I mean, I don't know why it was 4,000 instead of, 2.5 or something.
Sure. I guess like why not? Is there any explanation in the book of why Jesus came when he did? Like why is this the time when God decides I'm going to come down and die for their sins?
Sure. So I'm not sure exactly in regards to specific timelines being mentioned in scripture, although in Isaiah there are a lot of timelines, and like I was just watching a video about this the other day. King Cyrus, I believe he was like an Assyrian or Persian king that went into Babylon and like freed all of the peoples that were enslaved by Babylon, which included the Israelites who were captured by Babylon, and told them to go home. That Isaiah prophesied that would happen hundreds of years before it did happen. So it's kind of, Isaiah has a bunch of prophecies, and a little bit in regards to timeline. I don't really know specifically, and I don't know, there could be more information out there, but I'm not sure if there is. Although I've heard this postulated that Jesus came at the perfect time in regards to the spread of information, because he came in during the Roman Empire. They had just connected most of the known world within the Roman Empire. Traveling was easier. Information was easier. They were in one common tongue, Koine Greek. So communication was easier. In terms of like getting this universal religion, which they didn't have back then. They didn't have like a religion for everyone, right? They had religions based on their culture. They had cultural gods, right? This is the first this is like a universal religion for everybody, and it's in the perfect circumstances to be spread worldwide. So you could say maybe that had to do with something with God's timing, as to why it really did come at the perfect time to spread quickly, and it did.
Sure. Okay, but nothing in the book.
There could be. I couldn't speak to that.
Okay. Well, shall we get to the book?
Sure. Spirituality 6, I think.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, just it hasn't been.
I think I need to work on jumping around, finishing idea and topic.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It feels like here's the hard part, right? Because we're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And to us, I think it feels fine.
Yeah.
Like, but to listen to, are they like,
yeah,
oh man, this conversation is maybe good for them, but it sucks to listen to.
Yeah, we need to start listening to our tape.
Yeah, maybe our game tape.
Okay, so
where do we leave off?
We're at Exodus chapter 11.
Exodus chapter 11.
The final plague, baby.
Final plague threatened.
Threatened, right.
Is the header.
Just a little catch up. We're still in Egypt. We're still with Moses. We're still with Aaron. They're telling the Pharaoh, they're saying, don't let us go, or we're going to do
the hell out of here.
We're not going to do it, but God's going to do. He's going to do blood in the river. He's going to do frogs in the bed. He's going to do gnats in the frogs. He's going to do flies in from the gnats. He's going to do killing the livestock. He's going to do
boils
from God. He's going to do hail. Big hail. And also like
killer
fire
hail
and stuff. Killer hail. He's going to do locusts.
Killer hail, like killer whale.
Oh, nice. And he's going to do locusts. He's going to do darkness. He's going to... What was the last one? What did I miss?
What was the last one?
I thought I did 8.
Locusts, darkness. I think that was it. And then there's 10.
Swell. Okay. And now we're coming to the final one. The Pharaoh is about to... God's letting him know. And he's letting him know via Moses. And it's Moses telling him this now. Aaron is not doing it anymore. Moses is growing into his leadership role, which he once never thought he could have.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out after 9 magical plagues, he's starting to go, all right, maybe I can... Maybe this God guy isn't joshing me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he commanded the light and darkness.
Yeah.
What are you? You don't respect a God that does that? I mean, come on. You kidding me?
But this is a little bit of a interesting thing about this is, thus says the Lord, about midnight I will go in the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits at his throne, even to the firstborn of the slave girl who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle. There shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there had never been, nor ever will be again. Very intense. Not a dog shall growl against any of the people of Israel, either man or beast, that you may know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. Anyway, the reason I started reading this, but then I realized it wasn't the right thing, was that basically God is not giving the Pharaoh the opportunity to let the people go anymore. He's just telling Moses, hey, tell him this is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. His heart's already hardened, so this is what's going to happen. And guess what? That's what happens. But
first we got
to do some Passover. But it's basically, he's telling the Pharaoh, I'm going to kill everybody's firstborn except for the Hebrews. And is there any other part? Oh, and also the Hebrews are gonna, or is that Passover when he gets the gold and silver?
That's Passover.
Okay.
Or that's post Passover.
Yeah. So he threatens the final plague, which is the death of every firstborn, including animals. By the way.
Yeah.
Really intense.
Which also, I mean, and this is not like a, oh look how cool this is necessarily, but like the fact that the slave girl's oldest also dies. This is like great equality across, like speaking to Pharaoh mostly.
Sure.
Being like, Pharaoh, you're not better than anybody in your kingdom. You're not safe from this, you know?
Okay.
It is this sense of like, I'm treating everyone equally, which is like,
for his sins.
Everyone terrible. Well, yeah, for the sins of Egypt. That's another thing. I mean, that's another thing.
Well, he's not an elected official. Is it really the sins of Egypt?
They elected him. They're like, we should try to do a re-election.
We vote that he's God.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting how the Lord talks about punishing authorities, right? Like if you're like a pastor now, it's like you have so much more responsibility than like other people in terms of stewarding and shepherding people. And it's like, yeah, Pharaoh will not be judged, I think, in the same way as the slave girl necessarily, right? But in order of saying like this consequence that will be happening, it's happening to all of you. You don't escape this consequence, like perhaps in the other plagues where they didn't affect him as much, like you're saying.
Sure.
This one will. This one gets to the highest land. It gets all of you, you know?
Yeah. I guess that's equal, but
I mean, it is equal. There's no question.
Well, it's equal now, but the first 8 or 9 are not equal. Like they get closer and closer to him, but it actually starts with mostly innocent people being affected.
Well, the Nile affected everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure, including him, you know?
Sure.
So,
but
I don't know. And the gnats and all of that, I think it did affect him. I don't know. Clearly not enough for him to listen to the cries of his people, for sure.
Sure. But
and so then there's this, but also just shows he doesn't care about his people.
No. But it is just kind of a hard to sit with thing of like unelected official and people suffering from something all powerful because of that unelected officials misdeeds.
I'm really interested in just this like, because I mean I agree with you, and it does just show how much we take for granted something like democracy. You know what I mean? It's like we're just like, they're not even an elected official. It's like the idea of an elected official was like, you know, it's like
that's just the only way I can see like some responsibility.
300 years old. Yeah. Like it's crazy.
Because then if they don't have really, other than some type of uprising, they don't have, they're being held responsible for someone who is just fucking.
Well,
them
there is an out that's offered.
Right.
So there is a sense of salvation that can be offered through the Passover, which is the next chapter.
Yeah, I couldn't find the specifics on. I know it's in here somewhere about like how other people can come in, but they have to be circumcised is the thing. Anyway, you go through the thing and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, basically, so God says, at this night, I'm going to come by, I'm going to kill all the firstborn, da-da-da. Here's how the angel of the Lord will distinguish, right? You need to kill a lamb, and there's a lot of detail here that I am assuredly brushing over. Mm-hmm. You need to kill a lamb and take its blood and paint it on the doorposts of your house so that when the angel of the Lord comes by, he knows that this is a set apart home, that this is a house of God that follows the God of Israel.
This is what MS-13 does to houses they're going to rob.
Yeah,
so it's an age-old trick.
Yeah, it's an age-old. Yeah, it's very noticeable is the point. You're not going to miss it.
Yeah.
And so that's how. So then the angel of the Lord, they kill the lamb, and you put that blood, put it on your 2 doorposts and the lintel of the houses in which they eat it. Oh, they're talking about eating certain foods as well. I mean, if we have any Jew listeners, I'm so sorry because Passover is so big for you guys.
Yeah. Sorry to you Jew listeners.
Sorry. I use the word Jew Jewish, whatever.
No, I think it's interchangeable.
Okay, yeah.
And also it's, you delivered it with, it didn't seem like.
Sorry to all my Jew listeners.
It wasn't too gusto-y to be.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, I'm apologizing because you're Jewish. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Juning.
Juning. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, did that earn that? Thank you.
I don't know. It was an instinct.
Sure.
So basically, this idea of Passover, it's going to be a memorial, and they're going to hold a Passover feast every year, and they do. It's around Easter time, which is a New Testament thing, which Grant doesn't want to get into. So this idea being, if you're in a house that has the blood of the lamb on your doorposts, the angel of the Lord will not kill your firstborn, right? Anyone in a house like that. And I'm curious as to how widespread that was. Like, could Egyptians have heard of this and been like, we're going to do that too?
Yeah.
Just to play it safe. I don't know. The last ones have been pretty tough. So maybe we're just going to go ahead and do that.
I think we're going to go with this one.
We're going to just do it just because.
9 of the 9 that he said they're going to do have happened.
Yeah.
I think maybe 10 will
Also,
a little blood on the door.
Also, imagine coming out of like, what was it, 3 days? How many days of darkness?
Yeah.
Just coming out of days of can't see your hand in front of your face. And then right after, they're like, hey, you should put blood on your doorpost. Otherwise, your first kid's going to die. If I'm the oldest kid, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
get some blood. I'm doing it myself. I'm like, listen, I'm killing a lamb. I'm putting blood on the doorpost.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like every older brother and sister in the entire country of Egypt is like cutting their dick off just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And just smearing it on the walls.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, hold on. Let me try and find that part specifically about the sojourner. You shall observe the feast. Take some of the blood.
And basically, it's like a life for a life. Like, so for the firstborn to be spared, there still needs to be life given, and that's the life of the lamb. So it's like a 1-for-1 sacrifice.
Sorry, I need more time.
And I can keep talking.
Oh yeah, keep talking.
This is when I was reading this, and it talks a lot about how you need to be circumcised. And I was reading Nelson Mandela's A Long Walk to Freedom, and he was circumcised, but he was circumcised at 16. It's like a tribal thing there, and it's a rite of passage. So you turn 16, everybody lines up, and a man, I assume a man that is older, chops your penis off, and if you make a sound, you're a pussy. So,
dude, I tried to do a bit about that.
Oh, really?
I tried to do a bit about that about with the phrase adulting.
Sure.
Like kids are like,
adulting
I went to the grocery store. I did my laundry. I'm totally adulting. I paid my rent. I'm adulting.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're just not getting evicted. That's it.
You know what's
that's
adulting? Guardians of the Flute.
Yeah.
Have you seen Guardians of the Flute?
No, what is that?
What?
What is it?
Oh, dude, they play this in sociology courses to make you be like, wow, different cultures. Like, what do we respect? What don't we respect?
Mm-hmm.
And Guardians of the Flute is about this, like, it's some tribe somewhere where it's a tribal tradition where when all the boys turn 13, when they're young children, they carry on this little flute, this little white flute, and whiteness is like the color white is like a thing of power in their culture, and so which is not we don't endorse.
Who knows?
But when they all turn 13, they like go into a hut and suck all the elders' dicks off, and the cum and it gives them power.
What?
Yeah, that's their coming of age ritual.
Oh, where is that?
I don't know. It's some tribe. I don't even want to say that. I don't want to say a country on the case that I'm wrong, but yeah, look it up. Guardians of the Flute.
I think that's in France.
Yeah.
I think they do that in France.
Yeah, it's
that a French thing?
In the tropical land of Roman Polanski's backyard. In the mystical land of Woody Allen Town.
Ooh, interesting. Well, you're a man now.
Yeah. So really, really crazy documentary. But circumcision, I guess, is what is interesting is that circumcision has been a thing everywhere for a while.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And people talk about how brutal it is, but the Hebrews, at least they're doing it when the kids can't remember. I mean,
dude, it's from the jump, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
definitely
talk about like Jewish people being paranoid, and like for historical reasons it makes sense, but
yeah, they're like
also,
they're like the chickens of history.
They're
just gonna get killed.
If you cut my cock off before I could even form memories, I think there'd just be a layer of paranoia around my life.
I mean, maybe because there's like a part of you, I don't know, I was circumcised. I'm not paranoid. I do think like if I had like a third hand or like arm or whatever, and that was cut off before I knew it.
Sure.
I didn't know it. my body.
Do you ever have phantom foreskin syndrome?
Sometimes I just start rolling it down. There's nothing there.
You just like start peeing all over the walls on accident?
Well, that does happen sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, anyway,
that's about
Passover.
Yeah, so they have the Passover, and I'm not finding the bit about the sojourner within your gates.
That might be 13.
That could be 13. But just this idea, okay, well, paint them up, get it done, do it.
And then the Lord is going to pass over like a little drone or a big drone, and at night, and he's going to kill everybody's firstborn child. Even Jays who don't do this.
Yes. No partiality. You need that sign. If you don't know that sign, you are not saved. I'm just going to read these few verses here because this is the happening of the 10th plague.
Which is intense.
Which is intense. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who is in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where someone was not dead. Then he summoned Moses and Aaron by night and said, Up, go out from among my people, both you and the people of Israel, and go serve the Lord as you have said. Take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
That's what the Pharaoh said. He had the balls to ask for a blessing after all that.
Well, also, bless me is just like him being like, I got nothing.
Sure.
You could
He's
destroy
fully
me
admitting
right
defeat.
Yes, that is him being like, get the hell out of here. Everyone's suffered some degree of death.
Yeah.
The pressure, I'm sure, from his surrounding court to let them go was at was fever pitch, I'm sure.
Yes.
And it was just by night, he's like, hey, just get out of here. That probably the night of the Passover, was probably when that happened. Very effective is the point. And so then they get up and get out. And not only do they just leave, but they do what?
They basically rob everyone. They go, hey, can we... They ask the people of Egypt if they can have their silver and gold and clothes, which is... and the people of Egypt give it to them, which is a fulfillment of God's promise to Moses way back during the burning bush times a few episodes ago, where he said, not only are you gonna get out of Egypt, but they're gonna be paying you to get out. Yeah, I don't know what the silver and gold is going to help in the desert for the next few decades, but
well, you see it in terms of in Exodus and Leviticus when they're talking about building the tabernacle. A lot of it is like tabernacle, which is like their mobile temple, type thing. You see a lot of smelting of gold and things and fine, for building the temple, and also trade. You're wandering around, you're going to run into other civilizations. So,
I thought they were eating it.
You want cash. No, also, they love gold. Come on, you kidding me? Also, the presumption...
Unfair stereotype, though. Who doesn't love gold?
We literally opened the episode saying that you and I do not really care too much about gold. Effectively.
Yeah, but I really wanted to loosely quote Austin Powers 3.
Oh, see, I don't know what that is.
You gotta live a little.
Watch Austin.
There's more life outside of these pages, these incredibly thin pages.
Tell my parents I wasn't allowed to watch Austin Powers.
Dude, it's
I watched
so great.
Zoolander.
Yeah. Okay, so they're leaving, and this part I thought was intense because it comes up more. But there's a pillar of cloud and fire that guides them. So during the day, a cloud carries them the right direction, and then at night, fire carries them the right direction.
Well, leads them the right direction.
No, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But it's just, it goes, the whole thing is very magical with the plagues and stuff, but it's just like, this is the imagery where you're like, holy fuck, like seeing that.
Dude, have you found this account on Instagram? The AI generated Bible and stuff.
Whoa.
It's sweet, dude. It's like, it does things like how you think it looked, and then it goes how it actually looked, and then it's just
That's such a funny, the arrogance of that presupposition.
It's just how AI made it look, and it's just like a more realistic
how it really looked.
How it really looked when you saw it there.
Yeah,
it's just like, but it's intense, dude.
Whoa,
it's
AI really Bible, intense. Cool.
AI generated, the Bible AI generated or something. I forget the name of the account, but it's Joe Rogan follows it. No big deal. Yeah, it's really cool. Because pillar of cloud, pillar of fire, you're seeing it happen, you're following it. How crazy is that?
Yeah, you're definitely like, okay, I think this is the right guy for us.
Well, okay, that's glad you said that. Remember that you said that, and then remember what the people end up doing down the line.
Okay.
Because, there is, so far, what we've seen, obviously there's a lot of suffering on the Israel side, right? They've been enslaved for a ton of years,
430.
430 years.
By the time they leave, it's 430 years since
Joseph brought them down there. Man, that feels like forever ago talking about Joseph. Maybe more for us.
Feels like 430 years ago.
Maybe more for us than the people because spread out recording. But it's just like yeah, a lot of bad stuff's happened, but also you've got the 10 plagues, you've got the leading out of Egypt, you've got fulfilled promises, you've got all this stuff, and still the way they rebel against God is just nuts.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, this goes back to the point of like, maybe this does not everything in the Bible tells us how to live and what to do, but tells us our nature. And we've talked about this before, but the continual like blinding or forgetting for selfish purposes or like impatient purposes of like what is right or we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm supposed to go to the gym when I can. I know it. I just keep forgetting in the moment over and over again. And it is so much a part of our nature to like really, when things are good or when when we don't make things a practice, how quickly we can lose them.
Oh, 100%.
How quickly they can fall away from and then we just get caught up in our emotions or what's happening or just, gooning on YouTube.
Sure.
Whatever you get lost in.
I mean, that's...
And then there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, cool, as long as it's us.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about that
We
today
get
with the mic.
upset if they're going to other podcasts.
What?
How could you?
Guys, are you serious? We've got so many hours of content.
Yeah.
Sock tent. I mean, I think like that's like the same thing today with me going to a mic.
Mm-hmm.
I so did not want to go. And I knew I was going to come back relatively early in the night because we're recording this. So I was like, oh, maybe I just, stay home, whatever. And I was like, what am I going to do at home? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be sad.
Yeah.
I'm just going to like feel like I'm not doing anything, but I don't want to go to a mic because I have nothing to work on. Yeah, but I went and I know that was good and it was good and I got something out of it maybe.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, that's the good thing to do, And it's so hard to keep doing stuff that you're supposed to do.
So you're forgetting something that's like pretty small compared to forgetting that a dude 10-time plague banged an entire country. Not a dude, but a god, the god, and then led you out of that country with cloud and fire.
With cloud and fire,
and you're still like, I don't know if this is the guy. That's just crazy,
dude. It's so insane. With reparations, with all the thing, which maybe this is an argument for reparations.
I always will make that argument.
Did he say 40 acres and a mule? That's what they left with?
That's what God said?
Well, I don't know. You don't know the exchange rate, maybe, of the gold from then, if it would be worth
That's true.
40 acres and a mule now. I don't know.
That's true. Maybe all the 40 acres would add up to whatever
amount of gold
Israel is now.
Imagine getting 40 acres and then they give you one mule and you're like, that seems a little, I could have used a few more mules.
Right.
That seems like not a lot of mules.
There's definitely, this mule's going to die in a week.
40 acres, I got one mule. Also, mules can't procreate.
Yeah.
Because a mule is a donkey and a horse. So it's like, hey, I have this barren mix thing.
Yeah, but now you got some nice land to fuck it on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really, I mean, how much do you want after building America?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of the Chinese
greedy
slaves
slaves?
Did any Chinese slaves get anything for building the railroads?
Fucking insulting that we didn't even give them that.
Didn't even give them what?
They didn't even get 40 acres of land in a massive country. And
no, that was what some of them got. 40 acres and a mule.
Some of them, but
not all of them.
Yeah,
no.
And a thing that you can only be
one. It's got one generation of. You got one thing.
Jesus. Anyway, and now we get the big dramatic thing. They leave Egypt, but the Pharaoh, that gosh darn blue chew hard heart of his, just keeps hardening and hardening, and he chases after them, and so God takes them on a little different route. They could go towards the Philistines, but he doesn't want them to run into war immediately. So he takes them another way towards the Red Sea, although there is a note about how it's potentially the word could have been misinterpreted, and it wasn't the Red Sea, but pretty much everybody thinks it's mostly the Red Sea. Mm-hmm. And they go to the Red Sea, and God says to Moses, "Put your staff above the sea, and you'll part the sea." And they walk through with dry feet, because the walls. I mean, it's really, it's like reading fucking Tolkien. Do you have anything you want to say about it?
Well, so kind of funny that God's like, oh no, don't go up north. Like there's a pragmatic reason to not go up north. It's because you'll get into war. which you'd lose. You know, I don't want you to get into that. So instead, go up against this sea. Yeah, that'll be better. Also, something that he said is hard. Grant started this sentence with Pharaoh's hard heart.
Hard heart.
Their big labor force just left, and then he was like, "What was I thinking? Why'd I let him go?" He realized sunk cost fallacy. Well, my kid's already dead. I might as well just keep them. But he let them go.
With the devil, you might as well leave.
But he let him go, you know? So he's like, oh, shoot, now I got to go. So he regrets his decision, and he chases after them. Pharaoh, I think it says Pharaoh himself, and his just shat ton of chariots go chasing after him, right? And they're a ways out, right? But the point is, they're still running away. They go up to the Philistine route. They don't go that way because they have war, pragmatic reason. So then instead, they get stuck up against this sea.
Mm-hmm. And then...
Not pragmatic.
Yes.
That's not pragmatic. You can't cross a sea. Like, they're like, well, now we're effed. At least with the Philistines, we had literally a fighting chance.
Sure.
Now we're screwed.
Or are they? Because...
What, Grant? What happened?
Because then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord drove the sea back by a strong east wind. Oh, yeah, be careful.
Stretched out his bent arm.
Yeah, Elon Musk style. Yeah. A strong east wind all
My heart
night
goes out to you.
and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the people of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, the waters being a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. The Egyptians pursued and went in after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And in the morning watched the Lord in the pillar of fire and of cloud, looked down on the Egyptian forces and threw the Egyptian forces into panic, clogging their chariot wheels so that they drove heavily. And the Egyptians said, Let us flee from before Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians. Massive walls, fucking cloud of fire, and it's like there's the movie by Peter Jackson of Exodus.
No, Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Okay. It makes this thing really boring. Like I watched it on I watched it on the thing today.
I agree with you.
Literally it becomes low tide and they walk through low tide.
Yes.
You gotta watch Exodus with Charlton Heston, 1956. It's incredibly, it's so much better. The fucking shitty special effects of the massive walls of the water, really cool.
Well, also the Prince of Egypt, the Disney movie, animated, but does a great job of this.
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, really, like it's insane. It's crazy, and I hate the Ridley Scott movie. I watched it with Alex. Terrible, so bad. Minimizes everything, takes everything incredible about it, turns God into like a little kid.
Well, I think he's trying to make it like realistic for like an atheist viewer of like, no, of course they didn't spread the ocean, but hey, they did find this amazing path that they were allowed to walk through during low tide.
Yeah.
But it really, when you read the thing, it's so underwhelming.
Yeah, the movie's so underwhelming relative to this.
Yeah.
And also talking about like they walked across on dry land.
Yeah.
Pretty clear, dry land.
Right.
Now the chariot's wheels get all clogged up.
Yeah.
Well, why? Because of the mud. Well, wait, hold on, but it was dry land.
Sure.
So immediately you're seeing some sort of change there. And then the waters coming together and just collapse I mean, talk about a trap. I mean, if I'm an Egyptian and I see the walls of water, I'm going to be like, I don't think that's staying open for me.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I give them props for really committing to we're going to get these Hebrews back because
nothing else. His kid's
so
dead.
Blatantly ignoring every single sign and then being like, I think we still got it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, I don't know if you've heard this before, but there are, and this is highly contentious. Blah blah blah. Whatever. In the Red Sea area, there are archaeologists have said to have found chariot wheels at the bottom of the sea with like coral growing on them.
Oh, okay.
That date back to this Egyptian period when the Jews were there. Very interesting. And also
very interesting. Highly, highly contentious.
There are two pillars. Well, I think it depends on who you're talking to, right? But like, I mean, there's just YouTube is so interesting because it can give you really great, credible information and also really great, not credible
And
information.
then this
Dude, what the hell?
pube. Your own pube stuck in
Got
your
rid of all
throat.
those.
Really?
Well, in my throat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not a mustache. That's just glue in your own pubes.
I stopped being able to grow my mustache a while ago.
Oh no.
No, I think it's really interesting stuff. I mean, the way they look at it is like they're facts, but then people are just, the contention is just how they get there, or, whatever. Right?
Sure. Or they dated correctly.
I don't even think that's in question. But there's a lot of Christian archaeology that you look back at. It's like archaeology of the Bible, and it's pretty interesting. But no one's like using it as like a main apologetic for the historicity of Scripture.
Why not?
Honestly, I think it's because, if I'm being real, I think a lot of us are not interested in archaeology.
Mm-hmm.
We just go back and go, oh, cool. Like, that's just kind of it. It doesn't.
But
like,
wouldn't that
impact our lives.
be? Wouldn't it just be like massively important for the whole apologetic thing?
Yeah, it would be. But I think because it can always be called into question, right?
Sure.
You can archaeology doesn't actually prove anything. Like most things in history don't prove anything. It's just inference to the best explanation. And so
Right.
it's like, okay, there's chariot wheels in the Red Sea. That doesn't prove that the Red Sea opened up. And it's like, okay, yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't prove that.
Right.
But it does show evidence that aligns with the story.
Sure.
So it's just kind of, I think, one of these things where people are like, because it's not what gets you closest to quote unquote proof. And also archaeology, people just aren't really interested in archaeology. When was the last time you heard anyone talk about archaeology? Like any of our friends or whoever.
I'm friends with a lot of 7-year-old boys. They love archaeology.
Yeah, but that's because they like Tonka trucks and like, Egypt.
No, they like digging up the fake, like when you get the egg.
Oh, yeah,
you
dinosaurs.
chisel
Talk
up the
about
egg.
fake.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Those aren't real.
There's quite a bit of those that have been dug up, my friend.
Yeah, but those aren't the chariot wheels.
Yeah.
Real.
You use your apparent age argument again. You're like, well, how old would a dinosaur be if you dug it up?
Yeah, exactly. That's true, dude. That's the thing. I've had someone said that and was like, "Well, God's a liar. You're saying he just put all those dinosaur bones there for us to find?" And I'm so disinterested in that.
Sure.
Like, either way, I'm like, yeah, maybe. Probably not.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, maybe. Who cares? What does it have to do with anything?
Well, like the dinosaurs aren't included in the Bible, so if such a big part of history is not included in the Bible,
they might be.
What do you mean?
There's a passage in Job and a few Psalms that talk about Behemoth and Leviathan.
Sure.
Which Leviathan, interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of people diving into that. Some people think that the Behemoth might be referring to like a really big crocodile.
Yeah.
And then
Or my penis.
Oh, come on.
Not really true.
But that's like a moderately sized behemoth, like
An average behemoth.
as far as behemoths go.
Yeah.
A normal behemoth.
Sure.
Yeah. The Leviathan also. So I mean, there's a bunch of like references to stuff like that, and also the Nephilim going back to there. I mean, that's been so interesting.
Those are big people, though, right?
Yeah, people, but also like I've watched a lot of videos on the Nephilim, and they think that they're fallen angels mixed with people, so they would be kind of like demigods in a sense.
Sure.
Which is such a good. If that's true, then there's some sort of historical foundation for like the way that the Greeks and Romans thought about their gods, which were highly human in nature, in terms of, but hyper powerful, obviously.
Sure, but so is Jesus.
Well, no, Jesus is human in nature, but he is the one true God, right? The Nephilim were not actually gods. They were fallen angels with maybe powers or whatever. This just gets into it's weird for me to draw a line as to like, well, now it's too weird.
Yeah.
Because it's because like so much of it is weird. But to me, that's like a whole other realm of discussion of reality that is not in Scripture and is also not central to salvation, in my opinion. So it's all just like kind of fun musing.
It is one thing though that I'm trying to think of, like, while this stuff is going on, is like what's going on in the rest of the world historically, because like my timelines aren't matching up. Like,
right.
I keep forgetting, like, okay, the Jesus stuff happened during the Roman Empire.
Yeah, post Julius Caesar.
Yeah, I just don't know when all that stuff is.
Yeah, he was.
I know it's during like BC and AD.
Yeah, it's actually right in the middle of that.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
Yeah,
Somewhere in between.
That's why it's so funny when I get pissy. I used to get more pissy about this, but like the idea of CE and BCE, like Common Era before Common Era, it's like it's the same date.
Yeah,
you're not changing the date. Just say before Christ and Anno Domini. Like just say that.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was in the reign of Tiberius, I think is right. Jesus might have been alive during Augustus, but I think Tiberius was right after him. Yeah, I mean, it's like well documented historically.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus is like one of the most well documented historical figures in ancient history. Like better documented than Alexander the Great, as documented as Tiberius.
Mm-hmm.
Who had four biographies written about him from historians back in the day. So, yeah, but I think it is fun to parallel all of those things to be like,
I just want to see it. I want to see it on like a timeline.
I got to get you. When's your birthday?
No. I'll just Google it.
Oh, so you just don't have a birthday?
No.
I just can't even just ask for fun as a friend when your birthday is?
Not online. I don't want them to get it.
Well, then let's share our IDs with each other because I'd be interested in seeing what your ID photo looked like when you were just a kid.
Just a kid?
Taking your license photo.
No, I got one here.
Oh.
We're getting off tracks.
Sorry.
Anyway, that's Exodus, baby.
Well, it's not all of Exodus.
It's not all of Exodus, but that's the Exodus.
That's the Exodus. They get to the other side and the waters collapse, so they're safe. They're out of Egypt. They're free. They're away.
Yep.
Now they're in a desert.
And so Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians, so the people feared the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses. So next we got a little song for Moses, which I think we should actually sing on the next podcast.
Great, just write up a tune.
Yeah, you'll just write up a tune.
You'll write up a tune. Grant will write up a tune.
Josh
for
will
you
write
guys.
up a quick tune,
and then he will also sing it.
Yeah, and then you'll sing it. And so that's what's happened. We've gotten through the plagues. We've gotten the Hebrews to the other side. We've done it to the other side of the Red Sea, and find out what happens next week on another episode of
Call Him Father.
Bye.
Goodbye.